Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing well. So today we will be starting where we left off with Swift. Yesterday we checked about loops and conditionals. Then we checked about this is basically this is going to underscore here works as an ignore value, and then we checked about range, closed range and half open range. There is no range on which we can exclude the lower and include the upper. Use the vice versa. So today we will be studying about functions. This is the most important part. From here is the most important part of Swift. This is going to be the functions. Now functions basically let you redefine a reusable pieces of code to perform specific functionality. Usually functions are able to receive some values to modify the way they work, but it's not required. Okay. So what he's saying is instead of writing the same piece of code again and again, you just write it once, call it again many times. Now what does loop do? Loop is basically running the running something like running something for a fixed amount of time. Like if we say what is loops? Loops basically will help you to run the same code like for a specific amount of time. But here is instead of writing the same code at different pieces, we are going to merge all that code into a single function and just call it as many times you want. So the syntax, let's define a function. This is the function, the func keyword. Then we have our function name. Then we put the parentheses. This is basically the parameter list. And then we say print, and then we do hello first function. But to call the function, we would call it as using just do this. Let's see what we get. Hello first function. So what we can do is we can just have this, bring these comments so that these do not run and do not interfere with the learning process. And similarly, follow these comments. So now, yeah, follow first. So we are directly here now. Functions. Okay. Now, if you put that in a playground, nothing will be printed, and yes, it is correct. Now, this is how to call a function. To invoke the function, we need to call it. Okay. Okay, so this is how he's going to call the function. That runs the function or calls it. Now you see my favorite is fuel is being printed out. As you can see, if you can define a function by writing func, then your function name, open and close parentheses, then a block of code marked by closed and open braces, then you call that function by writing that function. Now let's do that now. So let's now start passing in a parameter. So now I'm going to pass in a parameter called as name, which is going to be since okay. Now here is the thing. Now in string, when in Swift, whenever we don't know, like whenever the variable is not initialized, always okay. And here one more thing, like we are not declaring it using where or something. You can do where as well, but what happens is it automatically assumes that this is like a local scope thing, so there is no need to specifically put where or something. Just pass in parameters. I'll pass in a name. Now this is I've declared. So I need to, it gives send me a name which is a string in nature. So I do tab and then just not to just include that, we will be doing inserting that in the string or interpolating it. So I'll do backslash and then the moment I execute, name has come here. Your string pointing what the point is given that it's just one line code. Well, imagine that we use 20 functions. Okay, so he's still explaining why do we, why is the need to use a function. So as I said, function is basically going to print. I mean, it's going to return the some piece of code multiple times. Now external is internal parameter names. Now sometimes you want parameters to be named one way while calling a function when the function is called but another way inside the function. Okay, this means that when you call a function it uses almost natural English, but inside the function parameters have sensible names. This technique is very well employed in Code, so it's worth understanding. So let's write a function that prints the number of letters in a string. This is available using the count property of string, so we could write like this. With that function in place, we could call it like, okay, so now what is it doing here? While they certainly what it's a bit worthy, plus okay, this is how we will do it normal, right? String. Now remember, for primitive data type, it has to be a capital S. It starts with capital letters. Now, for example, we could name the parameter my string when it's been called and str inside a method like this. Oh, okay. So now what is this basically doing? You can also specify an underscore as an external parameter in the parameter name, which will say that it shouldn't have any extra name at all. Okay, so now this is the beauty of Swift. This is like the language features. So we can, so there is in Swift there is no need for the parameter names to be the same when it is internal and external. For example, but then why should I write my string? While that certainly it's a bit wordy, Swift has to let you specify to let you specify one name for parameter when it is being called and answered. So you just write the parameter twice, once for external, once for internal. For example, we could use, okay, so what he's saying is inside the function there is no need, so by internal parameter, now this thing is internal to this function, right? So wherever we are going to use, we are going to use by the name, but the name of the variable is going to be name, right? So what is saying, it's not mandatory to be for this and the variable being used here be same. You can change that name, like depending upon what how you want to write it, how the name should sound inside the function. You can change it. So for example, if I do a function here, let's have a function. This function is a function, then I do test. Now here, so I'm not passing any parameter now. That I'll do in the okay. Then I do print. Hi. So now what I'm going to do is in the function call, I'm going to pass, say I'm going to say name, then I'm going to pass a parameter. So now when I come up here, this will need a parameter, right? So now what I'm going to do is have this name, and this is internal name. I have this as underscore colon. So now what I can do is instead of using When I come here in print, hi, then I write backslash, put a parenthesis and say internal. Can I use name still? Will it work? No. So once you assign it to, once you change the name, it won't work. Let's just run. See how it's even here now. This name is no longer, I mean, it's not no longer referred as name, and I've changed it to internal name. But then why is the name for my string to be written here? So this, I mean, what is this? It's basically again let's call it off.